just a couple minutes after 7. I guess I'm finally finishing crap that I should have had finished for Christmas. Though I honestly don't know what I'm going to do with it. Well, my hair looks pathetic, don't it? Huh. So what I thought I'd let you do is watch me craft because I haven't been on as much. I have just had to rest and let my body dictate what I've been doing. And then I've had 5,000. I've had 5,000 talks with the nursing agency and all that stuff. So it's just kind of been a wild. Who wraps lamps? I mean, do they think about the worst way possible to ramp them so that they can like cause you like problems? Lord have mercy. But I thought I'd pop on here and do this quick little craft and just chit chat a little bit. First off, I want to tell you I ran across something. Okay, y'all know how this word will probably get me in trouble on YouTube. Y'all know how I'm always constantly talking about your body and the human biofield and all that stuff. Well, if you have TikTok, which I know some of you don't, and I understand. My curiosity got the better of me, but there's really actually some really good information on there if you can overlook the crap that's on there. There's this guy called Museum of Tarot. I think that's his name. He did 2 videos about Mr. Beck? Mr. Beck. Who in the 1950s talked about how the military was using just low functioning energy mind control. And when I mean low functioning, I mean rub your head to a balloon, stick the balloon to the wall. That's how low functioning it was. But it was working. And so you think if they're using that in the 50s and it worked so well, it's gotta obviously still be in use, right? I mean, if it was working, I mean, you know, they don't usually give up on stuff that works. So you just have to go listen to this man speak, and it's an old black and white. Okay, Kim, glad you're back home. It's a old black and white speech that this man gave, a presentation this man gave, and his name was Mr. Beck, and he worked in the government somehow, and decided he would basically tell us what was going on. Bless his little pea-picking heart. I just made the biggest mess of my life. Unwrapping a lamp. Let's see if we can get it to stick over here for a minute. Don't you explode. You stay. But basically he was talking about the energies within the human body and how it was being used against people to augment perception, reality, and curtail choices. So help you make the best choices possible. As if we need any help, but I guess we do. So let me scoot this back for a minute so you can kind of see what I'm doing. So, but he gave a very, very, very neat presentation. Now I'm fixing to try to put this in here, and I'm probably going to cuss a little bit. I'm not going to lie, because it's going to be difficult. So you know something? If you are tender, this might be a good time to vacate the premises. Because this is going to be a pain in the butt, man. I had a round shade I wanted to put it on, but the round shade doesn't, it's got too thick of an inner fabric, and I don't think it will show through. So I was like, no, okay, well, I'll use the other. I don't know, this one may work. We could use this one. I mean, that gold's pretty thick too. It's not gonna. I scrubbed this thing. This was a gift from somebody. It's like a $70-something shade, y'all. It's got the fabric on the inside. I scrubbed this puppy, soaked it in the tub. I'm gonna glue a little couple of the band spots up here. Soaked it in the tub, scrubbed it. It smells so good now. And I know when a light bulb goes in it, it's going to smell like laundry detergent, which is legit like one of my favorite things. So, hey. But what I'm going to be doing is putting on stickers in this lampshade so that when it's going to be a hanging lamp, so that when it's hanging, it's going to have trees around the bottom, and then on one side an arborist up in the tree. Or I may just do this one with the arborist up in the tree. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Let me turn my phone up. Y'all know I never decide until the last minute. Everything just kind of has to happen. Now, Kim is the one who cut this out for me, so Kim is the one that made this craft possible. Her and her Cricut machine. I do not have a Cricut. I need a Cricut. I could be quite dangerous if I had a Cricut. And she was like, you're going to cuss trying to get all these little pieces off of this. Probably. What I may have to do is do the one with the trees first. I'll do the one I'm going to put the trees on first and then use this one. And when I can have both hands and both eyes and I'm not trying to have a conversation. So we will do this. We will do this one first. Yeah, Kim was like, I made that, buddy. Let me tell you. She's like, by the time I had all that plastic cut out, she's like, man, that vinyl. She's like, oh. And I was like, sorry, but it looks great. It's very pretty. I do have just regular trees, though. And so I was thinking about putting just regular trees on the inside so that when the lights came on, you would see the trees through. And using this as a hanging lamp in my house. So that's my thoughts on that. Because I do not have enough light in my home at all. And I need more. So that's kind of where my desire to do this comes from. My house is so dark at night. Hi, Pocahontas. Oh, we've got Into Club with us. I am staying warm. It's actually quite warm here today. And it's like almost 60. It's strange after being like negative 26 wind chill last week. It's just weird. So it's just very strange. No, hubby's at work. Hubby's always at work. The man doesn't know how to stop working. He has to have a stress test because of his little heart bubble the other day. But the man does not know how to stop working. He doesn't. I think that's how he copes with everything as he works. That's how he copes. He works. Now, I do not know how this is going to work. So I've never done a vinyl on one of these special lampshades, ritzy lampshades, special lampshades, schmoozy lampshades, whatever you want to call them. high and mighty lampshades, rich people lampshades, whatever you want to call them. But I do know that if you can just get the vinyl off the plastic, it'll pretty much stick to Jesus, God, and everything. So that's what I'm doing right now, just trying to get it off the plastic. So I thought I'd pop on here and do this real quick and say howdy, let you know I'm still kicking. I need to shave Oscar since I gave him his bath last night, but, you know, that's just one of those jobs that I have to be absolutely just, I have to be wired for sound for. I have to be mentally and emotionally prepped for that job. That's a job. And so I thought my energy would better be put on laundry because it's going to start raining again here real soon. So get the laundry caught up before the rain gets here because we're not on city septic or anything. So get the laundry going and work on a couple smaller things. And then, if it felt like it, this weekend I will shave Oscar. But he got that new bed for Christmas, but I was not about to let him in it until I had cleaned. Oh, God, I know it's too hot. I wasn't about to let him in that bed until I had cleaned him because he is just a dirty old nasty dog. He's stinking up to high heaven. And he's old, so he's an old stinky dog anyway. You know how older dogs just stink. Bless their hearts. Love them. I mean, they're part of your family, but my God, they just stink. It don't matter how much. I could wash him with borax, and that little guy still stink up to high heaven. Bless his little heart. But we love him, so we keep him around. But he certainly does not always smell the nicest. And I try to keep him weather appropriate, but I've got to cut him down because he's in his old man years. He's gotten into that old man licking phase. And when you're as old as he is and you have as much hair as he does, that creates hairballs. And let me tell you what, that is not anything you want to deal with at 9 a.m. on a random day when you think the day is going to be fine. Believe me. Believe me. So he was going to go live with Haley, but he cannot. He is allergic to the heartworm preventative stuff. And there are mosquitoes. Oh my gosh. There are mosquitoes literally big enough to pack him off in Southeast Georgia. So we decided that he would just stay here and live with us until his time is up, which he will be 10. I thought it was 10 last year, and then me and Haley started counting. He will be 10 on Valentine's Day this year. So y'all see the crap that's going on with Kansas Rebel and Gobble? That Brian finally made a Gypsy. You're not too far from him then. Do y'all see the crap that Kansas Rebel and Gobble and Ryan had to handle the last couple of days? I mean, okay, what did I say? Somebody that's having a little shit fit. I'm sorry, I'm going to be a butthole tonight. Somebody that's having a little shit fit will do it. They will always do it during the holidays. Why? Because they know it hurts you the most. And that's what they're out for. I mean, that's what they're out for. They're out for the satisfaction of the pain. And I like I've told you many, many times, you know, and y'all heard me 50,000 times, always look at people with compassion and kindness. Well, then I told you, hey, boy, that one screwed me up here lately, didn't it? I offered way too many. I offered so much compassion and kindness that I started making allowances and excuses. And we all see where it got me. So there are times when you can't offer kindness and compassion, and there are certain topics to where you just need to deal with it. And I was astonished because I had thought that Johnny Gobble, is that his name or is it? I don't know. Anyway, we'll call him Gobbler. I thought that he had kind of gotten squared away and was doing well. The few times that I had seen him in Miss Patsy or Miss Tamara's lives, he seemed to have a pleasant disposition. Seemed like he was maybe even, you know, studying the Bible, getting into the Word, and making some changes in life. And I thought, well, Hooey, good for you, buddy. that's great for anybody. And then I didn't want to believe it, but I watched Martin Speaks because I've not really been keeping up with stuff. So if I'm missing something, I will go watch Martin Speaks. He's got a good turn to him, but he don't care a bit to tell you how he feels about something. But he will tell you what's going on because he does not like this whole internet bully thing either. And he's kind of over it, kind of like I was a couple months ago. Well, then I was like, you're kidding me. He's like, no. He's like, let me show you the video. He had screen captured. And I didn't know that Kansas Rebel had a young child pass away. I didn't know that. If I can, be careful. Enjoy your dinner. I didn't know that Kansas Rebel had a young child pass away. I'm not a stalker. Or I'm a really sorry one, I guess, if I am. But I didn't know that. I didn't know he had a child pass away. I would kind of put that in the private category. But now since it's out there, we'll talk about it. Well, Gobble got on there and basically was saying stuff like, blaming Kansas for his child passing away. And I was like, oh, no. Like, this is just, you shouldn't say those things. And I was really proud of Kansas because he held his composure. I'm not sure I would have been able to. Just not. He held his composure really well. And I just kind of sat there dumbstruck. Because I was like, just a few months ago, wasn't Johnny doing great? Wasn't Johnny doing great? Wasn't he in all these lives and in on this positivity kick and getting all this support to start his own brand and clothing, merchandise, and and wasn't that all because of the kindness of Miss Patty and everybody that was trying to help him, kind of find a better way to be? And it kind of tied into what I've been dealing with this winter is people are all about you until you're not all about them. And if you take 5 seconds for yourself or you don't cater immediately or very specifically to how they want something done, then in their head, they start to create these grand stories of what you're actually doing to them. And, it's a form of paranoia. It normally comes from someone that has a trauma background. And, so we can look at it that way and say, oh, that's not good. There is something bad in their past. And we can say, we're sorry for that. But we can't tolerate the behavior. Because to tolerate the behavior and allow that behavior to continue is to allow this person to be on a very negative path and cost themselves a lot of social problems. But he was just like, and that's your actions basically are why your child passed away. And I was astonished to watch the replay and to see the words on the screen. It hurt my heart because I knew how hurt Kansas was going to be by it. It hurt my heart. And Kansas seems like a pretty solid boy to me. Like, he seems like a pretty solid guy, somebody that you'd want on your team. Just pretty consistent. There's not a lot of guesswork to him. What he says is what he does. And I like people like that. I like people I don't have to sit there and play mind games with and try to figure out, as y'all have noticed, especially this month. So I felt really bad. So I tossed up a lot of prayers and good energy for Kansas and his family. That is no way to be. But then you have to sit here and think, what is the motivation behind that? What's the motivation behind that behavior? Now, there are going to be some places I'm going to have to glue some of the edges of the vinyl just because of the shape of this bell lampshade, but that's okay. I'll make it work. But you have to kind of look and go, what is the motivation behind this? And it kind of makes me wonder that, several months ago, a few months ago, Johnny kind of backed away from the internet because he kept getting, basically his past was catching up with him and people that he had gotten into issues with, or people that he had skiffs with, was basically chasing him down now that he was doing better, and hitting him up, and trying to cause him a lot of grief. And I think that's just as wrong. But so he kind of disappeared, and I thought, well, okay, well, at least he's learned that it's better to have a quiet life, than to always be in the middle of something, So, if that's the lesson learned, it's still a good lesson learned. And maybe his life will still be, way better than it was on the path that he was on, because boy, the path he was on was just crash and burn. So I thought, okay, at least he still sees, I need to be quiet, focus on my family, and that's still a positive. And then he just pops up, like I hadn't seen him in months, and he just pops up and says that, which just confused the holy tarnation out of me. Meanness is very rarely necessary, especially when you're, at a certain age and can communicate. And, I keep talking about communication. It's what we lack in our society. People don't think they need to communicate. They kick up these grand schemes in their head, and they think that's communication. Like, they think those conversations actually happen. And then they get mad when the person doesn't remember the conversation that happened in their head. And that's part of this stupid internet and social media, and it kind of bifurcates the mind and doesn't always give us the best neural links to and synapses to create the appropriate memory banks and store these things. And we're getting to a place in humanity where we can't we don't really know, but we can't recall what is real and what's not real, because half the crap that we are tangled up in is virtual reality. So we are at a loss to remember, what's real and what's not real, what really happened, how it really happened, who it really happened with, or what happened in social media land or virtual reality land, and it's really screwing up our nation. And part of me wonders if it's by design, because it's really creating an angry society. It's where, people want to be part of this great big, place. And I think that, if we used it to communicate to people that are lonely, to share information and to support each other, and put programs on there, put education programs on there so that everybody can learn at their own pace and learn about things they want to learn about, instead of having to go to college and pay $80,000. This can be used for such positive things. But what we use it for is to try to upgrade the perception of our life. But in the process of trying to upgrade the perception of our life, we really downgrade the reality. Because in reality, we spend so much time focused on the upgrading of the perception that we do nothing with anyone. And so we're constantly alone. And we literally have no interaction. So we're stuck in this virtual land. My rock jumped. We're stuck in my rock. We're stuck in this virtual land where our brains get fuzzy, and what we recall gets fuzzy. And I have to say, hey, if that's happening, are you spending way too much time in this little virtual land? I have a candle, but I don't know if it will put off enough. Let me see if I can put 2 candles. I saw that they arrested somebody, and that's just, and if it holds, that makes a lot of sense because of the format of everything, knowing the action. Oh, see there, you can see the trees. I need to turn the light off, but I'm not going to get her to do that. So that's what it will look like when it will be brighter, of course. That's what it will look like when the bulbs shine through. You'll see the trees. I'm just too lazy to get up and turn the light off so you can see it very clearly. because I'm lazy. So there's one done. I'll have to glue a couple spots and maybe put a little layer of Mod Podge over it. But that's going to become a hanging lamp in my living room. I have nothing normal in my living room. Like everything is augmented by me, for me. I have a weird house. Ask Gypsy. Gypsy sat in my house the other week. I have a weird house. Everything is like Liz. It's just me. Hi, Cindy. But yeah, I'm going to try to kind of follow the Idaho. I think the person doing the best feedback on this Idaho crap is Allegedly Innocent, because she's been on it from the get-go, you know. And so I would urge you all to go and pay attention to her, because she is so Liz Chic. Allegedly Innocent is so smart. So smart. And she does such a great way of breaking it down, you know, because she's a psychologist. She's way smarter than me. She's the next rung up for me. And she takes it apart very effectively so that you can understand it. And she likes when I'm in there because I bring my law enforcement background and we mesh really well, but I just don't always she's really early in the mornings. I don't always catch her because my husband works till really not late at night. So it doesn't always work out for me, but she's great. She's so smart. She's just, sometimes I'm in awe of everything that she gets accomplished in a day, and I feel really bad about myself. But hey, you know, you just gotta go with it. But I am going to try to pay attention. I am. So, and since Kim snuck off, I got her a copper bracelet, because copper is supposed to stop a lot of the icky stuff in the environment. And we have a lot of the same health stuff. So I got her a copper bracelet because it's supposed to stop a lot of the icky stuff. So don't tell her. Watch her still being on here going, I heard it. Did you know that I have gone back? This is how old school I am. I got the other day, no, listen, I had a hysterectomy at 30. Best thing I ever did, dropped my transmission. Woohoo! I've never missed it, not once. But because my daughter visits often, I keep feminine products in the bathroom. And the other day, my knees were hurting so bad. And I have bursitis in my left hip as well, which was my mountain hip when I rode horses. And I'm double jointed. I would pop it out, and I'd jump along with the coats, the rank coats I was breaking. And I'd hang on to my saddle, and I'd jump along beside them until they calmed down. And then I'd pop it back in and swing back up. Bad idea, Elizabeth. Bad idea. But, 12, 14, 15-year-old Elizabeth did not understand that. So I have bursitis in my left hip. I have a lot of damage in my left hip, and my knees are crap since all my surgeries and stuff. So, and I was having a lot of discomfort with this weather going every which way but the right way. I went and got maxi pads, those little thin maxi pads, castor oil, soaked them puppies, stuck it to my knees, and wrapped it in vet wrap, Keflex. I always have Keflex in my house. And it pulled a lot of the pain out. Now, that's something that my grandma, great-grandma, and everybody has always been like, oh, it works, do it, it works. And I had never really tried, but I tried it. It works. And I take baths with baking soda, and the baking soda really helps calm down a lot of the inflammation. So I am going to really enjoy having a nurse here so that I can kind of spend more time in the tub soaking and not have to have David stop whatever he's working on to be my caretaker and help me, or pay attention to if he hears me go call 911. So I'm going to really enjoy having a nurse here and just try to really take better care of myself, because that's what needs to happen right now. I need to really take better care of myself. Hey, geez, that's a great idea too. I hadn't thought about that. Boy, that would take that Mod Podge right out of them stupid brushes, wouldn't it? Heck. So there's gonna be maxi pads all over my house. I have about 70% of my Christmas put up. I still have my wreath in the window and my tree, but a lot of my ornaments are going to Haley for next year for her tree. So I've got to sort through them and box them up. And then this tree and my stocking tree, after I get them empty, are going to go in my craft room. So as I make things, I can hang it on there. That way it stays in the house. I don't have to pack it to a building or the barn, and I can use it to display stuff that I make and take pretty pictures for Etsy. So that's what I'm doing. So my craft room is, I call it and my mud room Chernobyl, but really my craft room is just the whole big mess. My craft room is just all the shipping boxes. I've got to break them down, and all the padding that goes in the shipping boxes, I've got to get them broken down. And once I get them broken down, we'll be fine. So that's just my only problem there. And once I get that broken down, everything will clean up really quickly. And then we will be back in there. So I've got about 35-40% of it done. But then I got 50,000 more shipping boxes over Christmas thrown in there. So, oh my gosh. So, but if you didn't catch the Johnny Gobble and Kansas Rebel, was Kansas Rebel man or Kansas Rebel son? We're testing my old brain today. It was a mess. Like it was a vengeful, vitriolic, nasty, malevolent mess. And I thought, why would anyone go there? But that seems to be the theme of this Christmas season for me. Why would anybody go there? And I just have to I just kind of have to go, oh, well. And I didn't really want to get kind of tied up into it, so I didn't put too much. I just know that I was very impressed with how Kansas handled himself. His composure amazed me. I think he'd be a really good friend to have. He seems like a really solid guy. But then the other night, Ryan did that video, winner, are you a winner or loser? And he gave some really sound advice in that video. You know, there are moments when Ryan does stuff and I kind of go, what? What? And I go, oh God, he didn't think that one through. And then there are times that he does stuff and I'm like amazed at the growth and the elevation that he shows, you know, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. He just blows me away sometimes. And this was one of the times that he blew me away because he gave actually really sound advice during that video. And I even put it in a comment and I was like, that was really sound advice. I mean, there was very little I could have gone back and picked on. I mean, it was just really good advice. And he is true. You know, what you keep giving energy to will continue. It will absolutely continue because that is the reward for people that play games like that. That is the reward, the energy that they take away from you and they get to apply to themselves, or they just suck from you and know that you're going without, or they've weighed you down or caused you a hardship that day. That is the reward. And a lot of people do that purely out of the desire because you're doing well or you seem happy and they're struggling. And so that's how they try to set you up for failure. And a lot of it is because they're not happy themselves. And so to see other people happy puts them in a state of distress. And rather than work on themselves and truly repair the problem, all they do is try to create pitfalls for the people that are doing well. And he explained that very well. And it is all about motivation and making sure that you take ownership of your behavior and realize what you can fix, what you can't fix, what is repairable, what is not repairable, and move forward. And if someone is truly, truly feeding off of this negative energy, cut them off. Because if you take away that source of you know, that's kind of like an emotional payment. It's kind of, instead of paying them in money, you're paying them in, you know, emotional satisfaction. which just sounds greasy to me. I'm sorry. So he explained that very well. And I was super proud of how he sat there because I know he was upset because Kansas and he are very good friends. And so, but you don't talk about people's young babies that have passed away. There are certain things that are off limits. And you don't make allegations, jokes, or statements like that. And so it hurt me to see. It hurt me to see Johnny fall so far from where he's come from. It hurt me to see the distress on Kansas' face, though he held his composure greatly. But it really kind of was just an illuminating look at where we are as a society, to where it's more important to get an internet hit, an emotional hit, and get likes or dislikes or any kind of attention, even negative. It's all energy to them. And that's more important than the sanctity of a young life that was taken too soon. And I thought, no. So, I had a big issue when they were all going after Gobbler. I did one video and then I backed away because I thought there was something unstable there. Just my perspective, I thought there was something unstable there that scared me, that he was capable of potentially doing harmful things. And I was just like, I'm not gonna tie him with this. I don't want to be part of this. And when I started seeing him doing better, I tried to be like, it's so nice to see you smile. It's so nice to, hear kind words from you. And I thought maybe he was on a better track, but I don't know what happened. But that's kind of the theme from like Thanksgiving through New Year's for me. I don't know what the crap happened. Don't know what the crap happened. Not a clue. Like the world just went flipping crazy. So just mental health. No, yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, it's mental health. But it seems like it was really just amped up. I mean, just to see the problems in my family that we've had in my family. No. Like we never. No. And then kaboom, to the point where both David and I have now got heart stress test and monitoring being done. And it's like, this does not happen in our world. It just doesn't happen. And we're all sitting around watching the crazy people. And I swear, it's almost like that Dr. Beck. Like I said, go to Museum of Tarot on TikTok. I know some of you don't like TikTok, but go to Museum of Tarot and look up his videos on Dr. Beck, a guy from the 50s that tells us how they use the energy from the human body to start to manipulate us. It's like now our government has a remote control and can just turn anybody into a butthole at any moment. And it seems to predominantly be with only a specific type of person, if you get my drift. And I'm sitting here looking around me going, who's going to be next to snap? Because that seems to be what's going on. Somebody dumped I think I need to turn my dryer off. Hang on, let me go turn my dryer off. I think it's about dried out. Oscar, you want to visit, say hi? Come here, you can visit, say hi. Come here. You can visit, say hi. Come here, you can visit, say hi. Here, you can sit up here. Here, you can be the star of the show. Come on, get up here. Get up here. Ooh, you little fat man. Now look, you have to put your pawpaws up here. You have to put your pawpaws. Now look right here. Oh no, you're not going to. Oh, let me scoot you up. Okay. Here, let me fix. Okay, can you put your pawpaws up here? Oh, not your whole body. We have rules. I swear we have rules in this house. Say look, say hi. Say look how handsome I am since I cleaned. I got 2 whole baths last night. I got scrubbed twice. Said I fist and get a haircut. So I can see where I'm going. Stinky baby. Yeah, he is a stinky baby. And I had to give him 2 full baths. He still stinks. But considering he's a decade old, I guess I have to give him a little bit of leeway. I mean, he's just, I've never met a dog that isn't old that doesn't stink. So, your mom hasn't been decided. You said, yeah, and there, and sometimes you can look at people and go, okay, so maybe that is like a borderline personality, something going on there, or something else. But I don't know. He went like completely off kilter from where he was doing so well. But then I've seen a lot of people have very horrible Christmases because of like 1 to 2 people's behavior. It happened in my family. And the one thing that was most upset is that I won't convene, that was the words, and talk about it. Why would I when it almost killed me? The rant that was sent to me, the message that was sent to me 3 days before, all was fine. They visited my home. All was great. In 72 hours, I got a manifesto that said things went back years that needed to be corrected. To me, that's impossible. That's impossible. And if you're going to ask me to do impossible things, I'm going to go, no, you're not on my list. Because I'm not going to ask for impossible things. I just ask that the people that come to my house love me, come here because they want to see me. And when they leave with a smile on their face. And while they're here, we try to be remotely positive and talk about nice things. So, that's kind of, it's all that happens. Play one. Oh, music, yeah. Oh, yeah. Body language tells a lot. And see, that's where I'll lose a lot when I'm focused on something else and there's multiple people in my home. I don't always catch it. David does. And that's why for about 2 months now, David had been like, this is not going to get any better. He's like, something's fixing to happen. This is not good. And I was like, oh, no. You're fine. Everything will be fine. This is just a new dynamic and everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. And he said, not what I'm seeing, because David is retired law enforcement as well. And he was like, not what I'm seeing. And I'm like, oh, me, the eternal optimist, never again. And then my whole house just went to crap. I mean, and it was the things that were asked of me, I was like, basically I was told that I had been doing a whole bunch of things that I were against the rules. And I was sitting there going, what have I been doing? Because I've, number one, been playing this one real straight because, I don't want to make anyone upset. And number two, I thought I'd gotten in the right click with the few things that I was allowed to share. I thought I was doing pretty good. And I was basically told that I needed, to stop putting stuff all over the internet. And I'm like, I don't go all over the internet. And I guess my presence online was creating, they felt hounded. And I was like, but I literally have 20 followers. Like, I don't know how you can be hounded with 20 followers. And so I asked for like proof. Like, well, show me names, show me handles, screen handles. I will hunt them down and talk to them. And nothing. And then I'm like, okay, well then what's the big deal? If it wasn't enough to screenshot it to go after this person for being inappropriate, then why are you mad at me? And then it was like, oh, and on another thing, well, okay, well, I don't really use that except for business. That's how your dad links his Etsy store. So not sure why anyone would be linking over there, but whatever, and it's just like, if, and I'm like, give me the name of whoever, contacted you over there. And it's like, have you ever heard of a troll, a bot, a spam bot? I mean, not everything that goes wrong is, I sadly, I'm going to tell you all this. Now, I know it may break some of your hearts. Something flying through my house. It may break some of y'all's hearts. And it may make some of y'all lose belief in me, and it's okay. I promise it's okay. I cannot orchestrate the universe. Oh, it's sad. It's so sad. But I can't. I can't orchestrate the universe. The only thing I can orchestrate is control over this big old butt of mine and my little bitty plot of land that I own. That's all. That's all. I wish I could get out and orchestrate the whole world. Boy, it'd be a nice place, wouldn't it? Be a great place. But I can't. I know, Gypsy. That's why I'm darn. I really wish I could. Music, apparently I can. All I gotta do is like twitch my nose and it happens. But I got really irritated with the behavior, and but what irritated me the most was the things that I was being said that I was doing. I was being given no proof that I was doing them because I knew I wasn't doing them. And then the people that were supposedly attacking, was given no proof. So still up in the air if that was actually occurring. And it's just like, and then the last attack was something that can't even physically, mentally, neurosynaptically occur. So it was just like, I knew at that point this was just a hate manifesto, and it just fell upon me. And I literally responded back, and I was like, I don't know who you're mad at, but take it out on them. Because I think you're putting me in this, absolutely impossible contract with, impossible expectations. And I just don't want to play this game. And that was attacking them. I attacked them by explaining I didn't want to play the game. I attacked them. I mean, can you imagine if that was actually what attack meant? And then maybe across the Mideast, when people attacked each other, it meant they didn't want to play the game. Imagine how much more peaceful the world would be if that was the meaning of the word attack. Oh, Lord. Music. Well, and the thing is people like power and people that come from trauma backgrounds, if they don't come out of that trauma background and handle what happened and what occurred there, then normally they will start repeating the patterns. And that's why a lot of abuse scenarios repeat. Hi, Mimi T. How you doing? That's why a lot of abuse scenarios repeat, because when they come out, they don't do the work on themselves to recognize and handle the emotional and internal issues that that happen, and the way that it changed them and skewed their perception of themselves and the world around them. You really have to learn how to view and integrate society all over again. And so if you come out of any kind of abuse scenario and you don't do the work, then you will almost always recreate it. And I think a lot of people get a lot of emotional kickback. They get that emotional payday from that power that creating drama brings. And I don't like drama. I just want to be left alone. I'd rather read a book. I'd rather, it's like, I don't get together with women and gossip. If me and Kim get together, we will float in the pool, drink Dr. Pepper, which is our biggest sin, and normally talk about animals and our love of dogs or music. And, I've been put in a couple of positions the last couple of times that I did photography that was going to be, they were trying to do these stranger setup things, and they were trying to embarrass a man. And I was like, nope. I took the pictures, and then I realized what the women were doing. And I was like, no, I'm not publishing these photos. I was like, no. I was like, this young man here has a 13-year-old daughter who was proud that her dad had put himself back out there to do something like this. And you're going to do it and basically say Beauty and the Beast, wasn't this was, my pro bono work for the year. No, not going to be part of that. And, so I try to be very even keel and not get into the drama and treat people the way I like to be treated. And, but every once in a while I get just absolutely dumbfounded. Music, I have a definite addiction to Mountain Dew and Dr. Pepper. Kim is more of a Dr. Pepper person. I like Mountain Dew, but I try not to drink that much of it because I have to drink mostly water due to all my health stuff. But if I'm ever like really jet lagged, David will show up with like a Dr. Pepper or Mountain Dew. And I don't drink them often, so when I do drink them, I get like, woo, like the sugar gets me every time. Every time. But like I don't like, I try to have fun when I'm spend time with people, and I don't like to, it's like I don't have Pinky in the Brain moments where like we're going to take over the world. I just don't have those moments because the world is screwed and I don't care. Just to be quite honest, that's where I am. And oh, you were painting? Yeah, I can't drink much of it, no. But boy, it will. If I'm having a really bad day where I can't like get going, I will get going. But then I'll pay for it later. But I drink a lot of water. David loves Diet Mountain Dew. Loves Diet Mountain Dew, and I love the peach mango tropical drink mixes with the coconut sugar-free syrup. Drink syrup that you put in. Oh, it's so good. So that's what I drink a lot. But I don't know, it just seems like if you just pay attention in the last few years, and I said back when the pandemic was going on and we were all in lockdown, I said society will forever be changed with the way that we come out of our homes. Because right now we're in our homes and we're knitting these hysterical hate filters so that we can look through them. Because we're learning to hate everybody and see everybody as intentional harm. You are intentional harm to me. See, I'm sitting through my hate filter right now. I'm knitting me a bigger one. And I said, we will forever be changed by the way that people walk out of our homes and go back into society. Are we going to leave our hate filters at home? Or are we going to take them back out into society? Well, everybody drug them back out into society. And everybody sees everybody through this filter of you are intentionally trying to do me harm. And we've ruined our social interaction. And you can still find some little hidey-hole communities that are doing pretty good. But a lot of the world, especially where you're in a large urban anonymous setting where there's really no emotion there at all. I mean, I've been in big cities. I've never felt so lonely in my entire life as I have in cities. You can sit me in a holler 7 miles down the mountain where there ain't no power lines, no nothing. And you can barely hear a cow bawl. And I will feel more wrapped with love than I will in an urban setting with 500 people walking around me. I just don't, cities do not, I can't do it. But I don't know. I think that's what ruined, and I think it was done by design. I think because when I look at the psychological setup of it, it was just perfectly created. Whoever did it, check, you did a great job. And now they're talking, they just went to Belgium and they're talking about the next big virus. It's SERS or SARS. No, it's not SARS, it's Sears. SERS. And it's supposed to happen in 2025, and they're already practicing for it. So hold on to your britches, everybody. Because you know what happens every time they practice something, boom. And it's just like, I don't know. I'd like a little bit more, take me to dinner first, before you do these things to me, Oh, Lord, everybody in the U.S. is going to have to start packing Vaseline because our government's screwing us blind. I'm just here to say. So I hear you, Oscar. He's got his belly on the laminate floor on the linoleum to cool himself down. He looks like a little pig in a trough. Oh goodness. Are you lonesome? Oh, nobody visits me either. I wish we were closer. I wish we were closer. We'd be back and forth every day. Good Lord, if we lived side by side, we'd never be alone. We just make a little tunnel to each house. We just visit whenever we wanted. Gypsy and I have visited a few times now, and literally it's just like I've known her forever. She pulls up a chair, sits down, and we just pick up a conversation that we feel like we've had for 20 years. And we just keep going with it. And that was the only Christmas I had. Gypsy and her daughter visited, and that was my Christmas. And it couldn't have been a better Christmas. I'm happy that I have those memories. It kind of corrected the year for me. So, not your chickens. They be in my house. Her chickens are like Houdini chickens. They get in the house and everything. We could talk David to moving north. That'd be the thing. But I don't know. Just I see a whole lot of change going. I see a whole lot of weird like cues that tell me they're going to try to do this again. I say they, and I don't know who they really are, but they, the entities that created all this other crap we've been through, I feel like they're going to try to do it again. It seems like some of the things that were set up previously are being set up again. And I'm just like, oh, holy crap, they're going to do it again. Yeah, Denise, I don't know if I could live in your, that'd be like living in the Arctic for my knees. I don't know. I worried about you the other day when that weather was going through, that it got plumb rough here. So, of course, the people that live in your area are more, well adapted to that. But we're not here. That it was straight line winds, felt like a spring tornadic storm front coming through. It was just weird. Like he's like, I've got to check the rest of the tin roof to see if it pulled. We have to silicone any of the screws again, because I mean it was flapping. It was bad. It was, and then it got really cold right after it did it. Two very bad things with a tin roof. So we're going to have to pay attention and check it really, really close. I have friends in Iowa. I have friends in Utah, and I have you in Missouri. I have friends everywhere. I just don't travel well, so I don't ever get to go anywhere. Gypsy, I'm there with you. I don't think we should have to. I think as citizens, as sovereign citizens of our nation, we should be able to look at our politicians and go, stop this crap right now, because we're done with it. Now listen here. My ancestors did not get shipped over here to tame this wild. Sent basically to die by the crown to tame the woolly woods that you softies were scared of, and then marry into the Chickasaw and Cherokee tribes, just so you could then 200 years later just do away with all of us. Now, I just want to sit here and go, excuse me, but get off the cross, honey. Somebody needs a wood. So I'm just kind of, I'm over it, and I'm over the behavior of the president. I'm over the behavior of the vice president. I'm over the fact that the vice president's stepdaughter was one of the major models for Balenciaga, and that's why Balenciaga is not getting into any trouble for anything they did. Go look that up. I'm irritated that Hunter Biden, who has not one talent in the world, can get away with false information on gun applications, crossing state and federal and even international lines with escorts and prostitutes, can film himself with illegal weapons and illegal drugs, but his paintings are worth $250,000. And I'm so freaking irritated that a stupid man in a hoodie that thinks he's cute and adorable is sucking up all this money and dispensing it to places we don't know, but it sure ain't going to anybody in any kind of war zone area to feed or help anybody, because it seems to be that Putin's feeding and housing and clothing everybody. So where's your goddamn money going? Who's putting it through the laundry, and where is it coming back to? Because I got some questions. I'm dirt poor. I can trace a penny like nobody's business. There's a reason that man always wears a hoodie. There's a reason that they want him to look like the people. And he wears commoners' clothes and he's never dressed up, and because they don't want them to look at him and go, oh, look, but he's still taking care of himself. If you have to put that much effort into looking like a commoner, you got some money somewhere, because he ain't even doing a good job. Even his hoodies are too nice quality. They ain't even raveled anywhere. They ain't got no stains on them. I want to know where all that money's going. I want to know why our people that work in Congress are worth $119. I want to know why, when pandemic started, Pelosi was worth $119 million. When it ended, she was worth 170 something. Hello? I want to know why, like, base level for our Congress people is like, they're worth like 70 mil. How can you be a public servant? How can you be a civil servant on a civil servant's dime and be worth that much money if you're doing your job right? You can't. You can't. You have to be taking advantage of information that you should not be taking advantage of. You have to be taking advantage of lobbyists and backroom deals and money that you should not be taking. Just like this FTX bullcrap. They all got stolen money. And the president's even said, I'm not giving it back. The president! No, it's stolen, but I'm not giving it back. Now, how many of us, if we have been in possession of stolen property, would just tell the cops, sorry, I'm not giving it back, and you can't do anything to me? None of us. We'd be in the county pokey. It didn't matter. You're guilt by association. You're an accomplice. Get your butt down to the pokey. Oh my God. And it's just like, come on, people. Wake up, people. It just irritates me to death. And then the other day, somebody, they're talking about they're going to do away this, it's going to be cashless bond and blah, 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 blah. And I said, I can see both sides of this. I said, because in some instances, bond is a punitive behavior in which if you're innocent until proven guilty, you should not be, sucked into a punitive arrangement until the guilty verdict. And they were like, bail is not a punitive. And I was like, okay, listen. Now I can see if you're somebody that, like, I used to supervise and has, like, you've got 17 to 45 previous arrests and incarcerations and charges and, all that good stuff. And yeah, you're a risk and you need to put down something that will make you want to stay put, or just leave you sitting there until you go to court. I can understand that. But if it's like a first time arrest, you've never been in trouble, there's still a lot of people that have these big first time arrests, and they don't have the money for bail, and that family will come together, put up land, and then they'll go to court, and there'll be one small issue that, like, hangs the whole trial. And so instead of getting off scot-free, they'll get called on a lesser charge. But because they were found guilty and they have to go back to jail, all of it goes to the court. And so the court gets all this money and all this land on a technicality, And I was sitting and go, that's a punitive arrangement. That is a punitive relationship evoked before any sign of guilt. And I always had a problem with that. If you had a very minimal, history, and wasn't like a big time felon. And I always thought, man, it was just, and it would all, I've seen it happen to people that owned generational farmland. There would be some big charge somewhere come up, and next thing you know, that farmland would have to be, put up for collateral on somebody's bond, thinking, well, this is a trumped up charge. It's not going to go anywhere. And then it reduced down to a lesser charge, still got a charge, had to go to jail. And guess what? Nobody had their property anymore. And it's just like, come on, people, open your eyes, see what's going on. See what's going on. Now, if you've had 50,000 arrests and 40,000 convictions and you are a danger to your society, then yes, you probably need to put up collateral that says this will make me stick close to home because I am, a turd. But I've seen it go down several times to where it's like they're not going after the individual, they're going after the property because they know the individual, the only thing that individual has is the property. So if they get this charge on this individual, the collateral will have to be the property. And then they may reduce the charge, but they'll keep it just at the line to where they get to keep the property. And it's just like, they will trip these people up, change court dates, move courtrooms. It's just, and do anything to say that they were either late, didn't make an appearance, failure to appear, or it's just, I've seen it all. And it's just like, I understand the premise of what it's supposed to do, but when you see it in action, and you see it in action in a very tacky way, it breaks my heart to see the rules of this nation used to harm the people it's supposed to protect. It bothers me. It bothers me greatly. And honestly, the day I handed in my badge, I felt like I had lost 10,000 pounds off my shoulders. I felt it. Because I had been asked to do some things that were not appropriate, and I would not do them, and I would get in trouble because I would not do them, and I would have extra work applied to me, or I would have extra hate thrown at me, but I wasn't going to do it. Nope. Got to keep your name clean. That's all you got. Hi, Cats. How you doing? So, one state east. Well, Leeston's roamed. Mine just set up shop. Mine were basically German Irish in Ireland, but they had some German background in Ireland. I guess some of the meaner people, because they sent them over here. They were not indentured servants. They were just sent over here to tame the wild. They were not people that the crown liked, and they were basically picked up because they had no way to combat the crown. They were picked up, families moved over here, and they said, you're going to clear this land, this property, and basically for us. They, I guess, ran away when they got enough of the land cleared and had made enough friends and knew enough of the land. They run off, married in with the Chickasaw and Cherokee tribes, and kind of hid out in the backwoods until things kind of calmed down. And they didn't move. They didn't move a lot. Some of the Cherokee went west and into Oklahoma and into Texas, but then the ones that kind of stayed were the ones that stayed in the Kentucky, North Carolina, Tennessee area. And they just stuck. Like they were not moving. They stuck. And so that was my tribe. Now, the original tribe that mine came from did come from the north, the Cherokees that came down as they settled. It was the Delaware tribe and the Lenape tribe that settled down into the Tennessee, Kentucky, and North Carolina area. So, but, they stuck. Even when the white man showed up, they were like, we ain't leaving. Go around us. And, but they did intermarry. And so there were little hidey hole communities, all back in Appalachia. And then later, after the Civil War with the freed slaves, there were people want to think that Appalachia is so, homogenous, but it's not. It wasn't. And after the Civil War, it was full of these little communities that, had Native Americans, Irish, German workers, and people from the West and East Indies and the slave trade and everything from Africa, and there were, and they all intermingled and made family groupings and lived back in the hollers and were happy. They just want to be left alone. And people are like, that's not true. That, yes, that is absolutely true. That's how the Melungeons came to be. And I'm like, look up Melungeon, look at the background of the Melungeon, look at the blood history, the genetic history of the Melungeon. It's true. But people won't do the research to learn about it. It's so irritating to me. I'm like, we all lived together in peace. We all were family groups and came together, intermarried, and lived in peace. And nobody wants to believe it. And I'm like, if it didn't happen, how do we still have family groups that have kept and there's just a few left, but they've kept it alive. The Melungeons have kept it alive. How do we have family groups with these distinct backgrounds and these distinct genetic, meshes? Explain it to me. My uncle is a bigwig in the Air Force that retired, and he did our entire history. And I'm thankful for him because he did a lot of work that would have drove me nuts. So, but it's interesting. He did spend more time on his father's side than his mother's side, and I think my mom's mother's side is more of the native side. I think more of the interesting side, but he tracked pretty good on both ways. But there's only so far back you can go on mom's side before it just like dead ends, because they were just like pulling women out of the woods and naming them Mary so that they could marry this white man. And so it kind of stops and you're like, oh, well, guess that's as far as I can go there. But he did quite a bit of work for our family. So, and he enjoyed doing it. And I enjoy hearing his stories. He's really interesting. He's out visiting his boys right now, but he's always somebody I enjoy listening to him share his stories and talk about the past. And he's a very interesting guy. So I need to spend more time with him I think when he comes through the next time, he's just going to visit for a while. And then I think he's going to move in with one of his boys. And so I won't get to see him very much. I need to spend some time with him. Yeah, Denise, it's weird, isn't it? I can follow my dad's lineage straight back to Ireland. And it's like, whoop, right where, straight back. So easy. And on mom's, it's like, I can't find anything. It'd take me 3 and 4 days and 6 or 7 calls. And it's like, I need help with this. I did run across a Cherokee lineage dude up here in town, and he's offered to help me. It's just, I've been so sick, and the weather's been so nasty, we've not gotten together. But I am going to enlist his help to try to figure out what I'm missing, because I know he says he can do it. He says he has access to basically the tribe's records. So I'm like, cool. So I'm going to get with him. He's been very helpful. I think his name's Lone Wolf something. No, he's a very nice guy. I never got a name. They gave me a mock name, but I never got to go through the naming ceremony because I was one bloodline too far out. Now I'm completely in. I just need to go and say howdy and have them write my name down and register me. But back in the day when they were too strict, Mom could register, but me and my brother could not. Well, now we can, because the Cherokee eased up on the blood amounts. But it was so sweet because even though back then when we were little, I was like 13 and I was a livestock worker. So I'd go to the Indian powwows in full cowboy hat, Wranglers, and boots. But they still accepted me because, they just knew that's what I wore because I was always in a barn working cattle or horses. The guy that basically you got to give options for names, but you didn't get to pick your name. You can kind of say what you were thinking, but basically it was the elder that gave you the name. And the guy that did the naming ceremony leaned down, and I was redheaded with freckles. You know, I looked just like my father's Irish genetics. You know, it's as I get older, I can see more of my mom and my great grandma in me, especially with the high cheekbones and stuff. But he leaned over and he was like, "I wish I could have named you today." And I was like, "Me too." And he was like, "I had a name picked out." And I was like, "What was it going to be?" And he's like, "Well, since I can't name you, I guess it won't hurt to tell you what I wanted to name you." And of course, he was just, you know, he knew how bad I felt because I was watching the naming ceremony and I wanted to go through it so much. And he said, "Your name would have been," and he put his hand on my shoulder and looked at me, and he put his forehead to my forehead, and he said, "Spotted Pony." Because I was freckled out the yin yang, y'all. And still, if I get in the sun, my freckles turn into Pangea. So I don't tan, I just freckle and burn. And my mother tans beautifully. My brother tans beautifully. Even my children tan beautifully. Me and my dad don't tan at all. We just freckle and burn. So, but I thought that was very sweet of him that he told me what he would have named me. And I don't think he's alive anymore. So the last time I saw them, I had gone to Mount Juliet years. I had lived down toward Nashville and found out that they were doing some big, massive powwows down in Mount Juliet. And so I'd gone to a few, and there used to be it used to be a grass dancer and a couple of other dancers that used to compete at the powwows. And I remember them, and they remembered me. And because we had all been about the same age. And so it was nice to see each other again and be like, "Oh, this is where we ended up," you know. So it was nice. But I would like to have a better, I'd like to have a better line of communication with him. And she's very fair skinned too. Yeah, I just freckle and burn. It's pathetic. It's pathetic. Denise, if I ever get past that place in my lineage where it stops, I will be sure to tell y'all where it goes because I'm dying to know because it just stops at this lady named Mary. And I'm like, okay, Mary. So, well, Denise, I was afraid he was going to do something like that too because of my Irish descent, but I think he knew where I was a little rodeoer. I think he knew. And the horses and the livestock they had there, I was always like at the horse pen and always had my hands on the horses there, petting the horses there, calming the horses there. And I think he just knew that was where my interest lied. Oscar, you okay? And so I think that's why he gave me. I thought I heard you make a noise. It may have been a coyote howling, but I think that's why he was going to give me that name because I was constantly, and that's what I did. That's all I did was work horses, so made sense. Are you getting irritable? Are you? Are you hot? You're putting your belly on the linoleum. Are you hot? Well, I just wanted to hop on and do that really quick lampshade. I've got to get the other one done. And I am going to put a little bit of glue to hold some of the corners where the fabric rounds. Just to give a little extra. And honestly, nail glue might even work. Nail glue or super glue might even work, just to give a little extra tack. And it's going to be a very low wattage bulb, just a kind of an ambient light in the corner. So I think that will be very cute when I get it hung up. But I'm going to do some gluing to finish getting it tacked. And then I'll do the other one, and I'm just going to put the guy in the tree in one side to where he glows. And that's all I'm going to do for that. So, yeah, I thought I'd pop on. I've just been taking care of me and resting a lot. The medicine zonks me, y'all, and I'm doing pretty good, but the muscles are not as bad. And I had 2 or 3 days that they did actually great. And then yesterday, all the fluid that my body had been holding for the last couple of weeks, since the lactic acid had been so bad, it just all literally just came off in 24 hours, and it like to killed me. But it makes my legs feel bruised, and it really hurts, and it makes my muscles do this. It feels like I'm getting like little massages from people that aren't there, and it's really, I don't like it. And so I had to take more of the muscle medicine last night, yesterday, even last night, and it just zonks me. So it's just like, adios, I'm done when I take it. It's nap time. And so literally I will wake up, I will start on Walton's. I'm in season 2 now, Gypsy. I will start watching the Walton's episode, and then I'll wake up 4 later, and I'm like, whoa, I have to go back now. Because I've been trying to watch all of the Waltons in succession. So, but that's been my life. I'm just kind of taking it easy, waiting on everything. The nurse starts January the 9th. That's the date my nurse starts. So everything is going good. I'm just trying to take it easy and not overdo. It's good. It's always good to see you, Gypsy. I just wish we were closer. But at least this winter, I'm not going to be alone. And that's one good thing. So if I have really rough times, I will have someone coming in to spend a little bit of time with me to check on me and verify that I am okay. And that was one of the biggest concerns David had the last couple of years, was in the very bad parts of winter when I was having the very, very bad flares and the difficulty walking, because winter's really, really rough on me. He would worry about me constantly. And at least now he knows that there will be somebody coming in, spending some time with me and checking on me before they leave. And so it will make me feel a lot better. It will make him feel a lot better. And I'm just thankful that even though I have to bleed through the nose to this insurance, that they did say, yes, you deserve this and need this. And this new insurance is being much more kind because of my reflex sympathetic dystrophy. They're actually well versed in it. And they're like, oh, honey, they're like, you're so young. And I'm like, I feel like I'm 94. But they're very sweet and have tried to be super helpful. And they're actually more worried because of how quickly I cracked under the pressure of the last, that little attack mode that I got the other day. They're really concerned with just how quickly my heart wanted to blip, and just my body just went into full body flare, full muscle, just everything was frozen. And the lactic acidosis, they were just like, that's just very uncommon. And they're like, we think your disorder is progressing. We're going to need to check, do some tests and check some organs, and heart being one of them, I'm sure, since, I'm going to have the heart workup now. So and it's very possible that it is worsening. I am at that age where it seems to start going downhill for people that have had it in their, since their younger years. So, I may be looking at the plateau that I've been on the last few years, kind of crumbling beneath me, and me slipping down and having a few more problems, but we'll just handle it. That's all you can do, is just handle it. And I may have to make very difficult decisions as to how to keep my life under control and calm and complacent so that I can stay healthy and sound. But, those are just decisions I'll have to make, and I'll make them as I have to. And anyone that wants to get butthurt about it can just get butthurt about it, because by God, it's me going to the ground, not you. I'm trying to prolong that. So if that's going to make you mad, then I'm trying to, create rules that will keep me out of the ground as long as possible, then you do not deserve my time. So, but I am hoping that this winter is better. At least I will feel like if I get down, somebody will find me. So I don't fear it as much in the summertime because I get around really good. But in the wintertime, when the bone pain gets really bad and the swelling gets really bad, that's when I have the mobility issues. So I turn into like a whole different person in the dead of winter. February, the end of January, February, and March. I hate them. I hate it. You can see my face swells in my videos from the last few years. My face swells, my color changes. I'm not healthy. It's a struggle just to sit and talk to you, and it's not fun. Winter is really, really difficult time for me. So I am looking forward to having somebody here to check on me. So, and then Gypsy, I'll just have to call and check on you. So after my nurse leaves me, I'll call and check on you. But, you know, I don't know where the issues that we've been having to handle the last few weeks. I don't know where our family is going to go or what it's going to look like. But, all I can say is if it's going to cause me near heart attacks and make my husband have to have stress tests, it's not going to continue. So if somebody wants to get butthurt about that, they can. So, but I'm married that man. He is my primary concern. And I refuse to let our home be turned into just a den of worry. It's never been that, and it will not be that now. And so we have really just tried to kind of just focus on each other and find the blessings in every day. Even though the Christmas was different, we still had good memories and good times. And, we are not in control of other people's paranoia. And we fully understand that. And it may affect us in some ways we really don't want it to affect us. But we both looked at each other and said, whatever happens, happens, because we know we're not in control. We are not in control. And so we just have to accept it and move on. But we are certainly not going to get worked up to the point where we're trying to intervene and make peace, because all that did was create more animosity, and now we're going to have to pay for a flipping stress test. So, and my husband never admits he hurts. So to have David say, I'm having chest pains, my husband never admits he hurts. So to have him say I'm having chest pains freaked me out. So the man will white knuckle kidney stones for 4 hours before giving in. So he's just one of those. But you never can tell. This may be a huge blessing in disguise where everybody's going to eventually learn something. And it may lead to our family bonding even better once everybody's lesson is learned. It could be a blessing in disguise. It just feels like a big overrun septic tank right now. But it could be a blessing in disguise where we all learn that there are limits, and that we will not always accept certain behaviors, and that we, there are times you need to tread lightly. And just because we're family does not mean we will swallow anything and everything. And, I'm just not one of those. I think your family should be the people that you trust the most, that you should be able to take anything to, but that you should never press. You should never press your family and put like huge unhealthy expectations on them. That should be someone that you should be able to talk to and never like create an unhealthy momentum. Just bring anything to them and talk it through, but just don't create it in your head. Bring your ideas to them and talk it through. And I just hope that we grow from this. But if we don't, I'm not in charge. I didn't cause it, can't fix it, and ain't in charge. So I'm just watching the show. But as far as augmenting myself, who I am, to fit into somebody's expectation of me or idea of me, no. Nobody's ever put me in a box. I ain't gonna fit anyway. And I sure ain't gonna climb in one. I'm almost 45 years old. I gave up trying to fit into society 43 years ago. When I was 2 years old and started having spatial awareness, I realized I was just not like other people. And that's okay. And I sure ain't gonna try to fit in somebody's box now. So that's just how I am. And if I'm not beneficial, you think, to you or the people that you love, then so be it. So be it. And that's your decision to make. It ain't mine. But all I can be is me. And at almost 45 years of age, it ain't changing now. Nope. So love yourself enough to know that you shouldn't change yourself for other people, especially when it's ludicrous expectations. So I think that's it for the night. I'm going to go and brush Oscar. I've got to keep Oscar brushed and brushed and brushed and brushed and brushed so that when I clip him, he will clip easier. So I'm going to go brush and brush and brush and brush and brush and brush and brush. And then I'm going to vacuum and vacuum and vacuum and vacuum and vacuum. But I'm thankful that I feel like doing that. So that's a good thing. And then I'm going to watch more Waltons. Because I have, controlling the universe is difficult. And you have to watch the Waltons. It's easier to love people from a distance, yeah, especially if they're taking name. Oh, Oscar loves being brushed. But right after I give him a bath, even though he is a Shih Tzu mix, he will shed really bad. So like for the first 3 or 4 days after the bath, I have to just brush and brush and brush and brush and brush and brush and then just vacuum. And he's just like, lady. And I'm like, I don't know where all the hair comes from, but I mean, it just is horrible. And I have to just vacuum. But once I get him clipped, he will stop shedding altogether. It's just when his hair gets long and I've let it get too long, and then I wash him and that undercoat wants to come out. And it's all, I should have not let him get this long. It's all my problem. It's all my fault. But he will be a cute little teddy bear faced dog here in a day or two when I get done with him. So it may take me a couple of days in a row. He'll probably have to rock half a haircut for a day or two until my muscles can finish it. Because normally I can't do it all in one time. I lose my dexterity and have to stop and then start again the next day. So he looks kind of weird for a day or two. Like if the FedEx guy comes halfway through, like mid-cut, he knows it because the FedEx guy comes often enough. Now he's like, oh, it's time for your haircut, hun. Oscar's like, yeah. So I left a mohawk on him once, though, and the FedEx guy got the biggest kick out of that there ever was. We have a really cool FedEx guy. So his name's Ralph. He will actually let Oscar sit in his chair. He brings some treats. So we have a really cool FedEx guy. So I need to probably one day try to catch that. That's adorable. I mean, their little interactions are adorable. So who was here the other night that he got? Oh, the delivery boy was here today, and he hadn't seen him in like a week. And Oscar was all excited to see Jacob, the delivery boy. And I was like, my poor dog. He's so lonely. But he does not like sharing his house with other animals. Like we fostered, and he did okay. But when we got that Yorkie, he was not happy, and he was mean. He was vicious, and and that was at a time I was really sick. So I think that my health probably was what was making him very defensive. But don't worry, I got pictures of Kazi for Christmas. Kazi had to sleep under the Christmas tree to wait on Santa and got tons of presents. And he's grown up to be such a handsome little boy. And we're still in communication. I talk to his owner all the time, and she sent me Christmas photos of him. And he's such a handsome little boy. And I still send voice messages, and she plays them for him. So I'm still very much part of Kazi's life. It's very cute how we kind of have like shared custody. And so it's been an experience, but I wouldn't have met this family any other way, and they've been a really big blessing. And Kazi was a super big blessing on them. He got me through my mastoiditis. He was kind of what pulled me out because I was about done. That had about killed me, and I just couldn't perk up. And I perked up with him. And he would sleep in the nook of my elbow, and I would be like so afraid I was going to crush him because he's the size of a gerbil. And I got him raised. I had him for like 6 months. Got him raised and housebroke and all that stuff, and trained. And he was a little stinker, but he was so sweet. But then I got really sick again, and the vertigo started. And then they started talking about tubes and shunts again, and I was not healthy. And I got put in the hospital, and Kazi had a mental breakdown, and Oscar was vicious. And we knew that that was not going to work. If I had to go in the hospital again, we couldn't have this happening. And so the family that Kazi had come from, we were like, do you know anyone that wanted one of your pups that didn't get one, that would be interested in just being gifted one? And I, paid to have him neutered and everything. I was like, my health is tanking. And I said, my old dog is not doing well. And just luckily, one of their very close friends had a need for one. And sadly, about 2 months prior, they had lost their little Maltese. But that meant, luckily, they were looking for a replacement for their Jack Russell Terrier that had always had a sibling. And so we sent him on a trial basis, and they bonded immediately, and he's been there ever since. And it's precious. He lives in a very nice neighborhood. Like, he lives way better than he lived here. But we spent the first 2 weeks going back and forth with the training, the statements, the phrases I used to train. And she uses the same phrasings, the same words, and will call me sometimes and ask me how to handle certain things. The vet was like, send that woman a thank you card, because as a Yorkie, normally they're not very good about being touched, but Kazi will literally like raise his back legs so that you can feel everything. And because I trained him that way. And the vet was like, she did just a phenomenal job. Y'all can send this woman a thank you card. So he's made quite the little impression. He lives about 2 hours away. And they're like, anytime you want to come visit, you can just come down and come to dinner and play with them. And we don't really want to impose, but there's been a couple times me and David have been tempted to go visit him. But I'd had Oscar for 9 years at that point, and I couldn't, between the two, I couldn't, sending him somewhere else would have killed him. And he is basically furniture in this house. He just belongs. And so we found Kazi the new home. So I don't know what I'll do if when Oscar's time comes. I don't know if I will have the wherewithal to adopt another one or to foster one and see if I want to adopt. I know that I can't handle a pup. I don't have the energy or the walking ability some days to handle a puppy. But I also don't like to be alone in this house. So I told David I may go, and I grew up with pit bulls. I know that most people are probably terrified of them, but I grew up with pit bulls that we raised, and they were the best. I know people are going to say no, they were the best family dogs if you train them well. They were the best family dogs, and so I told David, I said I may maybe try to foster one, see if our personalities jive. And I may rescue one. And that way, if somebody, and I'm always here alone, if somebody does come in that needs a wake-up call, I'll have me a big pit bull. Oh, your Oscar the cat passed recently. Oh, big mane. Oh, 19. My goodness. That's like Guinness Book of World Records. You gave him a good life. That's woo. Well, I have 4. I have 4 of the biggest, fuzziest honking cats ever. And I've got a lady from West Virginia that's claimed 3, but I still have 1 more big poof ball. And honestly, whoever can come catch them can have them. I'm starting to feed them out of the kennel so that when she comes to grab them, I can just feed them in the kennel and shut the door, and there they are. They will let you pet them and stuff, and they love to have scratches and stuff, but they don't want to be picked up yet. But you can tell they want to be lap cats, but they're just like, because they were born in the barn and feral for a while, they're like, Yeah, the large dogs are more difficult to get adopted. And I think the next time that I adopt, I think I may get me a larger dog. And number one, I won't have to bend over so far when I have to give one a bath. Short hair dries easier. I won't have to give haircuts. But I'm thinking of me, and there may come a time when I need to train one to either bring me a phone or, fetch something that I need. And I may get me one that I can, and I'm really good at training dogs. So I may get me a bigger dog that can jump up on the counter and get the phone and train it to do stuff like that. So, oh yeah, Denise, I know yours are. Yours are ginormous. I don't know if I want one that big, but I think I would like one that I could train to do certain things as a helper. And I could probably, honestly, with my disorder, probably get a dog. I just think that there's so many other people that need them worse than me. And honestly, if I could get a dog with a decent brain, I'm so good at training, I could probably train them to get the phone, go get my pocketbook, go get the phone, just things, that needs to be done. We used to have one of those handles on the door to slap down, and I taught my Schnauzer how to open the door, and then my husband got mad at me because the Schnauzer would open the door all the time. So he turned it to a twist. But now my cats are trying to twist it. So the cats from the outside will grab the handle and try to twist it. Cats are smart. But I could put another one of those doorknobs on, and if I needed, he could let somebody in or something without me having to get up. But I could train a bigger dog to do stuff like that. So I swear Ember comes through about once every 2 weeks right now. And she's turned into like a mafia cat. I don't know what she's into, but I'm pretty sure she's working for the kitty cartel. She'll come through and she'll just side eye me. And I'm like, I see you, Ember Sue. I know what you're up to, no good. And then she'll get over the food bowls and she wants to smack everybody on the head when they eat. And she'll just sit there, and when everybody puts their head in the bowl to eat, she'll just thump their noggin, and you'll hear it thump. And so David stood there watching her one day, and he got so irritated. He went down and he went ding right on top of her head and said, "Stop it." She turned around and picked her paw up to him, and he said, "I wouldn't." She put it back down. She's mean. But she loves to bring them home, but then when they get older, she's like, "I hate every one of you." And I'm like, "Stop bringing them home." She's like, I'm like, "You're a hormonal mess. Stop." But that's what she does. But the ones that she's got here are, one definitely looks like it's part Maine Coon. One is orange, that is Mr. McGibbon's, that is huge. And then I've got a gray one that's got half a cream face. I call him Phantom, because Phantom of the Opera. And then there's this little puffy blue, Russian blue one. And I just call him Puffball, because I don't know what to name him. He just looks like a little puffball. I mean, when he walks, you can't see his legs. So, yeah, I had a Schnauzer for 10 years. His name was Benny. Benny Testaverde, after Vinny Testaverde, the football player. We called him Benny. I called him Booberman. And he was my Benny Booberman. And it never dawned on me how inappropriate that was till I'm on the front porch going, "Boob, hey, boob." Then I realized I need to pay more attention when I name my animals. I love Schnauzers. But now every time I see one, I think of Benny and I cry. But Wednesday for the Master. I think from now on, I'm going to be probably just trying to foster a bigger, like a treble dog or something, because I'm really good with the treble dogs. So just one that doesn't normally get along with everybody else. I'm really good with those. So, but we do have 2 animal shelters that are in driving distance that stay full, bless their hearts. So if something happens to Oscar, I will start watching those. Oscar was found in a parking lot of a factory in Byrdstown, Tennessee. And the lady thought that he was just coming over to eat lunch with the guys in the parking lot and that he belonged somewhere, until she was there for like till 7:30 for a few nights and realized that he was still there each night when she left. And then she called him up to the vehicle one night and he had a big like knot on his side of his face. So she figured somebody thought something was really wrong with him, tossed him out. Now me and her had grown up showing cattle, sheep, and everything. She knew it was an abscess. So she took him home. Well, she has 2 old English bulldogs. They hated him. They were like, nope, he is not staying here. He was going to get eat alive. Her English bulldogs are very picky. And she said, I can't do nothing with them, Liz. Will you come get him and clean him up? She said, take care of this abscess and rehome him. And I said, yeah, meet me halfway up the mountain because she lives way down the mountain. So we went and got him. And I got him home that night, and that abscess had to be ruptured and drained because if not, it was going to take his eye out. And so I went and got a towel and Haley, and I got him wrapped up. And I told Haley, I said, now if he starts biting, I said, just turn him loose and let me get bit. You just go the other way because I thought I'm fixing to get bit. And I punctured that and drained it and cleaned it and flushed it. And he sat there and looked. He was so small, he fit in my bathroom sink. And he just sat in my sink and looked at me and was like, thank you so much. I feel so much better. And I knew it. He would never leave. And in 2 days, he was following Haley around. He had already house trained. And that was it. He's been here ever since. So he gets very irritated when he does video calls with Haley and he has to look at her corgi Reggie now. He's like, He gets irritated. He's like, I see what happened there. So, but he's been a good dog. He's pretty laid back. He's not much trouble. He's only ever been sick once when he had that bronchitis. Well, then that thing bit him and he got sick. And that's the only time he's been sick. He had bronchitis, then got bit by that one thing. Other than that, for almost 10 years, that's the only 2 times he's ever been sick. Otherwise, it's just been regular maintenance and booster shots. So he's had a fairly uneventful life. He hates for his feet to be shaved, but that's just part of it. So he gets over it. But as y'all can see from his bath and blow dry video, pretty laid back little guy. So, and he's well trained. He behaves well. So I may clip him a little bit and then try to make a video about it. Because he looks miserable when I start clipping him. It looks like an Ewok that just ran through a food blender. It's really sad. But then eventually he does clean up. And he's got the prettiest brindle underneath his fur, but he is very ticklish on his feet. And I have twice gotten those little tiny foot clippers, but they're so expensive and they don't last longer than nothing. But I will every once in a while I'll pay for those so that I don't tickle him as bad. But he is so ticklish on his feet. But he does. We dressed him up as an Ewok for one Halloween, and then one Halloween he was the frog, and Haley was the princess and the frog, and so he's pretty much gone and done everything with the family since we've had him. So he likes vacations. He will fall asleep on floaties in the lake, so you have to anchor him because he will just drift off, snoring. And he's pretty laid back little old boy, so. I think David and I may go on a trip in February, and we may take him with us because he doesn't cause any problems. He doesn't. He just goes and looks out the window. That's pretty much all he does, and lets all the kids pet him. That's all he does. But if not, he likes to stay at Logan's Pet Lodge with Miss Cheryl. That's his favorite person ever. And that's where he spent every vacation that we've ever gone, and he stayed somewhere. That's the only place he's ever stayed is with Miss Cheryl at Logan's Pet Lodge. And he loves her. And it's like he thinks it's like senior retirement vacation assisted living for him. Like he loves it. He loves it. And she spoils him rotten. So you're looking at me. You want a haircut? Are you? You want to see where you're going? Okay. I may trim on him a little bit and then hop in the shower. So I wanted to visit and say howdy. I got one lampshade done and I'll do the other tomorrow. I'm going to clean up a little bit of mess and see if I can get his eyeballs to where he can see where he's walking. May start on his feet and just tick him off all at the get-go. And that'll give me time to get cleaned up before Dave gets home from work. But things are picking up. I'm doing better. I just have to take things in spurts. And if I have to take the muscle medicine, I'm zonked. So if you don't see me, it means I had to take the muscle medicine and I'm zonked. So y'all try to enjoy New Year. I will not be staying up. I will not be staying up. If I do, I will put a post on the community page to be like, I made it to midnight, but normally it don't happen. But try to spend it with good people. Don't do anything dangerous. Don't do anything stupid. Don't drink and drive. And make sure that you spend it with good people and you start your new year with good energy. And everybody, please go and to Museum of Tarot on TikTok and look at Mr. Beck and Mr. Beck's energy presentation from like the 50s. It is worth it. If I can go back and find it on my TikTok, I will post the link so that you all can go watch it. It needs to be watched, and then it will start you all, get the hamster going in the wheel, and it may lead you all to some of the very strange finds that I have found in the last couple of years and you need to know about. So other than that, if you want a huge awakening, go and Google the human biofield or go to the Odyssey channel and search human biofield. You will learn a lot, and you will learn a lot about what is going on in the world, in our nation, and because of our politicians, and why we are being used the way we are being used as citizens. We're giant batteries for the evil people. Let's just be honest. All right, on that, I'll wait for YouTube to strike me, and I'm going to go to bed. Night, y'all.